You need the power of waking, Sora. Do you have it?
No? Probably not.
What is going on, everybody? So you read that title correctly. For 5 days, I put my ROG Ally into sleep mode just to test out exactly if all the people complaining needlessly about the fact that Steam Deck is better at sleep and waking were actually correct. So I put my ROG Ally to sleep mode for 5 complete days. And as you can see, when I turn it back on, to conserve the most battery, and I think, judging by the amount of battery I used, in 5 days, at some point the ROG Ally automatically went into hibernation mode and seemed to only use 8% of the battery in 5 days. I had this thing on standby in sleep mode for 5 days and only 8% of the battery was consumed. I think that's actually a bit better than the 3DS if I remember correctly. So it technically went into hibernation and not sleep mode, but the thing about Asus gaming laptops, since they are so close to Windows, they use hibernation mode on a regular. And I think using hibernation mode for your gaming laptop is actually better than using sleep mode. But yeah, it seemed to only use 8% of the battery in 5 days, and I went right back to playing Street Fighter 6. As you can see, the FPS is at 60 and it's running fine. I went on to play for another couple hours and nothing bad happened. No crashing, no complications. It simply woke up from hibernation mode, which it seems like it does in order to conserve battery, and all it took was about 3 seconds to turn it back on. Sure, it wasn't instant, but it wastes less battery in the process of going into hibernation. So honestly, that's a bit better than the Steam Deck. If the Steam Deck decides to go into hibernation to waste less battery in almost a week of being in sleep mode, then I would gladly take that option over just instantly going back into my game. It only took about 3 seconds for it to start, so it wasn't bad at all, but it saved a ton of battery. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video in case anybody was wondering if the ROG Ally was capable of falling asleep for a long time and conserving enough battery. The answer is it can, and it plays whatever game you were playing before perfectly, even if you had it sleeping for a certain amount of days, or even a week it seems. I wanted to make it a full week, but I decided 5 days because I wanted to play my ROG Ally. That's the reason why I posted that about saying goodbye to it for a couple days, because I was mainly doing tests on it. And honestly, I am completely impressed by this device. So far, it hasn't given me any issues whatsoever. It's playing actually smoother than the Steam Deck. And a lot of people would say that the battery makes it an incapable on-the-go device, but as you can see, I had it asleep for 5 days and only 8% of the battery was used up, which means that you can have this thing in sleep mode for like 3 weeks and it'll probably still have some juice left. But I don't recommend that because that would be storing your device. And just like with electric skateboards, if you have it below 50% and you stored it, chances are it may decrease the capacity of the overall battery. That goes for any device, including the Steam Deck. But yeah, I've been highly enjoying Street Fighter 6 on the ROG Ally. As you can see in the video, I got a screen protector on it. I got an anti-glare screen protector because the system seems to have anti-glare on it already. So I decided to add another anti-glare screen protector. I got the works for this device. If there happens to be some kind of case available for it, then depending how light and small it is, I'll probably get it. But for now, the ergonomics of the system itself are extremely light and just perfect for my personal use of the device. I love the way it's shaped, and I pretty much love everything about it, including the sleep mode. I think putting it in hibernation is an extremely smart thing for Asus to enable. If you press the command center button, you'll see a power button on the bottom left. All you have to do is select that and put it into hibernation. But if you put on sleep mode, if for some reason the system can't go to sleep because there are too many processes in the background, it'll automatically put your system into hibernation. So all you have to do while turning it back on is holding the power button and you'll be right back into your game, no matter what you're playing. And I tested this out with Street Fighter 6. So while the ROG Ally was asleep, I decided to play a lot of Street Fighter 6 on the Steam Deck, and I'll let you know about that experience at a later date. But for now, I am completely impressed by the ROG Ally. I love the fact that you can just have it in sleep mode for as long as you want and won't have to worry about the battery whatsoever. And yes, in hibernation mode, unlike with Windows gaming laptops in sleep mode, if you touch a mouse it's connected to or a keyboard, it won't turn back on. You have to turn on with the power button exclusively to wake it up from hibernation mode. So hibernation mode is less delicate than sleep mode, and it wastes a lot less battery. I think the Ally knows that hibernation mode wastes less battery, so determining what you're playing, it'll either put it in sleep or hibernation mode. And with Street Fighter 6, even on the Steam Deck, it wastes a lot of battery because you need to play this thing at 60 hertz to get the full speed. So it figured that out and it put it into hibernation mode. When I started it back up, the game went full speed from the second I started it. But yeah, I decided to do this test because I didn't see anybody else doing this. I just saw people assuming that the Steam Deck was better at sleep mode instead of trying this experiment out themselves. And there was nobody else coming up with the idea to just test out the sleep mode for the ROG Ally to see how it performed. Instead, they would put it to sleep for 1 second and then wake it up the next and think to themselves, well, that wasn't as smooth as the Steam Deck. But there are certain things about the ROG Ally sleep mode that are better than Steam Decks, namely the conservative use of battery life. And yeah, I'll be doing a lot more tests, but for now, I wanted to take care of the most boring test, which was simply putting the ROG Ally to sleep for a good amount of days. An average amount of days that most users will probably have their ROG Ally in sleep mode, but most likely won't have your ROG Ally in sleep mode for 5 days unless you forget it somewhere. But just in case you do, now you know, it's okay if you do that. You don't have to worry about your Ally on a trip. The system will take care of the battery life for you. But I am going on a trip soon, so I'm going to take the ROG Ally on it and let you know exactly how that turns out, if it's as smooth as the Steam Deck or not, because I have taken the Steam Deck on a couple road and plane trips already, and it's been okay, mainly because the Steam Deck needs certain files in order to play certain games. I'm going to make a video on this soon, but there are things that make the Steam Deck, for me, sometimes completely unplayable on the go. And with the ROG Ally, it has a few things over the Steam Deck in terms of being completely disconnected from the internet. Because yes, the Steam Deck has a better battery life in some instances, but there are things about the Steam Deck from day one that have irked and annoyed people endlessly. But yeah, now we know the Steam Deck is either a little worse when it comes to battery life and sleep mode, or just as good as the ROG Ally. And it's great to realize this, seeing how nobody else would do this test. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. And I hope you have a good week. Later.